Can you beat Lego City Undercover without jumping? It seems impossible, right? Throughout the game, there are countless moments where you're required to jump. From things as simple as jumping up a ledge, or jumping on top of a civilian's car to annoy them, or even pressing the jump button to do some insane parkour. In every Lego game, jumping is a staple of the gameplay. But what if I told you someone beat the entirety of Lego City Undercover without jumping by using some of the craziest glitches in tech ever discovered in this game, like a true infinite height glitch? This is the story of how Lego City Undercover was beaten without jumping by legendary speedrunner Trent the N642. Before the story begins, we first need to explain what counts as a jump. A jump is any movement where you press the jump button and your character moves upward. Okay, yeah, maybe we don't need to explain that. Anyway, the jump button is different depending on the console, but in Trent the N642's case, it was the B button on Nintendo Switch. Pressing the B button on menus to close them, for example, obviously doesn't count because that's a B button press that doesn't make the character jump. With the obvious aside, our story begins where any great Lego City Undercover save file starts. Auburn Bay. The first potential obstacle Trent came upon was the police car. Simple, but menacing. Okay, not really, he simply pressed the X button to get into the vehicle, which, if you'll recall, doesn't count as a jump. After that, while simultaneously playing as two players, he grabbed a 10,000 value super brick to save for later. It's never a bad idea to save, kids, and simply played through the story in police station, making sure not to jump. Conveniently, there is an elevator and stairs in the police station, so he never had to actually jump up and down between floors. Wow, the devs are actually being nice to us for once. Now, you might be wondering, what happens if you accidentally press the jump button because of muscle memory? Well, in order to make sure this wouldn't happen, Trent the N642 mapped his B button to the minus button on Nintendo Switch, so it would never be a problem. Wait, what happens if I map the minus button to the B button now? Wait, now there's no B button. That means I can't exit the menu. I'm stuck. Speaking of problems, the first real one Trent encountered was these flower pot vines while chasing after one of the clowns in chapter 1 of the story. If you recall, when you go on these vines, the game requires you to jump on and off of it. But to skip this, Trent simply used the two-player teleporting glitch to warp his player past the fence and into the yard. I'm telling you, that glitch always comes in clutch. Whilst in the yard, he used a glitch known as infinite height, which I'll explain here. Imagine you're playing in co-op mode, and you have two Chase McCains. If you have player 2 teleport to player 1's position, they will warp there. Simple, right? Well, if you teleport to player 1 again as player 2, you'll notice player 2 will go to a different position than the first warp. See how you can cycle between these two warp coordinates if you keep teleporting? Don't worry, you don't have to answer, this isn't a graded test or anything. Let's say that now you teleported player 1 to player 2. Since player 2 already used up one of the two coordinates, player 1 will, naturally, go to the other coordinate. But what happens if you teleport as player 1 again? Essentially, player 1 will teleport to the other position, but since player 2 is already there, player 1 will be about one chase length higher than the other player. Yes, we are officially measuring things in chase values now. The problem is, you can't warp while you're falling, so that means that you need to warp, then immediately warp again, before it can really register that you're falling. You can chain this for a total of 4 times, and then you need to switch to the other character to continue chaining it. Complicated, I know, but basically it's a way to gain height without jumping. Once Trent had that glitch figured out, the rest of chapter 1 is pretty easy because he was able to get to higher areas by using the glitch. In chapter 2, he used the 10,000 value super brick he had collected earlier to help pay for the vehicle call-in point, saving him the time it would normally take to get the 8,000 super bricks required for the build. See, I told you it was smart to save. A little bit later, he had chase number 2 make his way towards Jenny's diner in Cherry Tree Hills where level 1 was located, while at the same time collecting the grapple gun with chase number 1. Once chase number 1 collected the grapple, the game automatically warped chase 2 to chase 1. But by quickly pausing and teleporting chase 1 to chase 2, the game still thought that chase 2 was in Cherry Tree Hills, so it sent chase 1 there. Basically, the two chases swapped positions and the game didn't even realize. Ha! Take that, developers. By cleverly using this glitch to bypass certain areas, Trent zoomed through the story. One thing he made sure to do though was yell at this guy doing sit-ups behind the police station by blowing his police whistle at him before he teleported to his next needed location. Why did he do this? because he can. Side note, but I calculated approximately how many sit-ups these guys have been doing since Lego City Undercover released in 2013. They do about 5 sit-ups every 15 seconds. This game released 4,324 days ago as of the time of this video's release. There are 86,400 seconds in a day, so multiplying that times the amount of days ago gets us the number 373,593,600. Dividing that by 15 gets us the grand total of 24,906,240 sit-ups. Talk about a workout of a lifetime. Anyway, normally speedrunners would try and unlock the farmer disguise early so they could chicken glide. But as any Lego City Undercover player will know, the only way to glide as the chicken is by holding down the jump button. So cross eggs off the grocery list, because Trent was not going to do that. Usually players unlock the chicken so they can do the insane glitch in the final level where they hit an out-of-bounds door that lies in the Rex Fury boss fight. But since he couldn't do that, Trent instead planned to fight Rex with the big yellow mech. This meant in his run he needed to 1. Unlock the mechanic, who is the only civilian who can operate electrical fuse boxes despite not being a construction worker, and 2. Unlock the color gun from chapter 6 of the story. The mechanic is pretty easy to unlock. All you have to do is build the disguise booth in Auburn. And believe it or not, Trent was fairly easily able to play through the story until he unlocked the color gun. I mean, at this point, Frank Honey and his crazy shenanigans was really Trent's biggest obstacle. Also, another side note, Chase can do a 360 mid-air jump. Well, not actually a jump, but you know what I mean. Now, the final part of the run came into play. If he could somehow find a way to beat the last level of the game, the challenge would be deemed complete. So, he did a crazy launch glitch where he put Chase on top of a fancy car and blew up the car, which sent Chase sprawling high into the sky and onto the helicopter pad in Bright Lights Plaza. Hey wait, that's another reason why it's smart to save. You never know when Chase McCain might destroy your vehicle. My parents always did say to be prepared for anything. From there, Trent traveled to Apollo Island, where he met his next big problem. Basically, he had to find a way into this building where an out-of-bounds door lied that would teleport him to the final level of the game early. In order to get in, though it took a couple tries, he glitched out of bounds with both chases, then did the infinite height glitch to gain some height so he could land on top of his vehicle, and then he drove the vehicle to the edge of the island. Then, as the second player, he hopped out and teleported to the first player. You would think this would teleport the second player on top of the vehicle, but you'd be wrong. You see, the game still thinks Chase is out of bounds because it doesn't register locations on top of vehicles. So when the game teleported Chase 2 to Chase 1's last known real location, and because he was far enough away, the ground was unloaded and he was able to fall through the map to hit the out-of-bounds door. Sheesh, I'm glad that type of thing doesn't happen in real life. Once in the final level, he did the infinite height glitch to get high enough to fall into the trigger that brought you to the second part of the level. In that room, he used the mechanic to fix an electrical fuse box, and the color gun to help him get the mech that he could use to beat Rex Fury. Then it was just a matter of swinging Rex Fury around like a baseball and slamming him against the wall like a true home run to absolutely beat him. And the rest is history. Thanks for watching the story of how Lego City Undercover was beaten without jumping. And subscribe for more Lego content just like this. I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye, everyone.